Okay, hey, this is Paul over here with Freight Connect. I'm going to hang out here for just a little bit, and then I'm going to go and do a run. I think it's about 40 degrees out, maybe, and so we're going to go ahead and get that in. I wanted to get it in this morning, but I did do a run last night, so I didn't necessarily get out this morning, obviously, but yeah, so we're going to get that in day 16. So we're on the other side of the 30 days. And I'm not going to say it's all downhill because it's not, but it definitely, we're definitely moving forward, making progress. So I feel good about that. Again, started day one. If I didn't start then, I would have had to start at some point in time. 16 days have gone by. I've been able to get 16 days in. And so that is really good. That's really good. So we just want to continue this process, and we'll get to our goals. I didn't weigh myself. I'm not going to weigh myself until another 15 days, and we'll see what's going on at that point in time. So after the 30 days, we get on the scale again. Um, but in the meantime, let's see. So we're going to do the run tonight. We did work today, and we worked on the platform, and we did write an article, put out an article today. Um, if you're interested, let me know. It's in regards to what's happening this weekend. This weekend, if you haven't heard, there's supposed to be a major snowstorm or winter storm that's coming through. And when I say coming through, I mean it's going to impact all of the United States in one way or another. One might ask you, hey, would you prefer a hurricane, or would you prefer, an earthquake, or would you rather be somewhere where they have, what is it? Hurricanes, tornadoes. I'm where we get tornadoes annually. So that's the Midwest. There have been some earthquakes that have rattled the ground over the years, but I think I felt one before. I felt one when I was out in California, not in a major one. I've never been in a major earthquake, but this one that I was in, I was just sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden it felt like something hit the building, and I never experienced that before. And I called a friend, and she didn't know. She had been in earthquakes before, but she was in this big building that I guess it's on rollers, so it's able to take the force. And but there was confirmed an earthquake on that day, and I was ready to get out of California. So, but you people ask, what do you prefer? And you know, when you think about all these different weather related incidences, you can have a hurricane, and a hurricane is going to, it's not, if you're living in the Midwest, you're going to feel it. You're going to have that impact of that residue. There's going to be rain, that's going to come, but it's not going to be the impact as if you were on the coast, to take the full brunt of it. Earthquake, there's a part of the country that you're probably not going to have to worry about earthquakes. In regards to fires, that those can happen anywhere, but um, generally there's areas that are more susceptible to that. Tornadoes as well, although tornadoes can pop up anywhere, but they don't last that long, so they're not. They can be a major force and major destruction within a specific area, so it's not necessarily like widespread, unless you just have tons of them going on at the same time, which that doesn't normally happen. Flooding, that can happen in a lot of different places. Yeah, that can happen almost anywhere. Flooding, but these are not things that I think, haven't thought about it, but to have a winter storm that impacts everyone. I mean, that can impact the entire country when you think about it. I mean, this one that's coming through, I think they say it's going to There's going to be like 160 million people that would be impacted. I don't know how they come up with those numbers, but when I looked at the map, the only spots that look safe was Florida. They'll have 60 degrees or better, and on the fringe of coastal area of California. But everywhere else is going to feel this thing. Everywhere else is going to feel snow. It's going to feel ice, cold, and a lot of other things that come with that. Wind, the wind chill. It is not going to be fun. I don't enjoy the cold. I'd prefer not to be where there is cold weather. Although this is where I've been all my life. Probably 2 years out of my life, I lived in California. So during that period, there we didn't have to worry about snow and the cold. But other than that, yeah, it's brutal. But over the years, you figure it out. So you live through it. But the point is that this thing is coming this weekend, right? And it's like I say, it's going to impact the entire country. Because if you think about it, one of the things that a lot of people are going to do, they're going to go to the store and buy a lot of food and whatever else they feel like they need. They're going to get enough that's probably going to last them for 2 months. That's just what happens. The shelves go bare, and there ends up being a lot of people at the store. Before. So tomorrow, I think the storm's supposed to start really having its impact tomorrow afternoon, maybe. So a lot of people, if they haven't already made it to the store, I'm sure tomorrow's going to be very crowded. So you might want to think about that. And then you also have where, over the weekend, people aren't going to be out. The streets are going to be bare. That means no one's going to be at the stores buying other things. It's almost going to be like a holiday. This thing is supposed to go all the way through Saturday and maybe into Monday, I think. But I guess the better part of it is that the good thing about it is that it'll be over the weekend, right? Because then through the week, we can all start to get back to work. But even that, what these storms do, they slow things down. They cause backups. They actually cause damage. It can be to homes. You have power outages. You have refineries that become affected. There's all sorts of havoc that it causes. And it's not just in one area. Like if you have an earthquake, it could be just this part of California, or if you have a tornado, this part of the Midwest, or flooding and things like that. No, you're going to hear about an impact. It's going to have an impact where it might impact someone or a certain region, say the Northeast. I'm just throwing something out there, but it will also impact someone in the South that's connected to the Northeast. This thing. And every year, I don't know if it's every year that, we have a major winter event, but we probably can count on it, we can count on hurricanes, but more so, I think we can count on these winter events, because what happens is even when it just gets cold and then you have to keep your kid home from school, you have nowhere for them to go and you take off work. And if enough people take off work or enough people don't go to work just because it's so cold outside, there's going to be an impact to the economy. Okay. So when you think about it, the economy becomes affected, but it's not just for that weekend, right? Or that time that you're off work. Things are backed up, orders are backed up, freight movement is backed up, is stopped, it's stalled. You have a lot of trucks that try to go south. They're not going to be able to a lot of trucks aren't going to be able to run from the cold this weekend, because I think in the South, it's clearly going to be colder. a lot colder. So, this thing is going to impact a lot of people, a lot of businesses. Okay. Um, and so what does that mean? Does that mean we stay at home, or, we hibernate? We make sure we cuddle up and get a good book, or watch a good movie, or what do we do? The way I look at it is this way. There is probably opportunity when these events happen. And a lot of people don't take advantage of that. Okay. I think that there's an opportunity for a lot of people to take advantage of, not saying a bad situation, but there's always a need when, like COVID, when COVID came about, a lot of people in trucking got paid really well, and a lot of people got into the industry, came into trucking. Some people are still in it, and that was their first time ever getting into trucking. But these type of events, they have such a massive economic impact that it cannot be ignored or denied, right? So if we do not ignore it, do not deny it, I think that there's an opportunity there where you can find freight opportunity. I talked to a lot of people here recently, and a lot of people talk about how freight is bad, whether it's the pay, or there's not enough freight out there, whatever it is, or they park their truck. I always talk about, why not communicate with shippers? Why not during that time? Even if you aren't going to move freight for them right now, maybe the rates are too low. I mean, you got to put your time where you need to put your time and to make money, but there could be an opportunity where you are building relationships, and when things change, because they always do, then you'll be in a position to be able to possibly move freight for them because of this relationship you built. You can say, hey, I've got a buddy who knows this person, or that does this and does that. And it's because of that relationship you have, or the relationship your buddy has with whomever that might be, right? So this can be an opportunity to develop relationships. I mean, there's so many things that at that moment we have in common. It's kind of like, if your hometown team, whatever sport it is going to the playoffs or is going to the championship, right? The whole town is talking about it. And not only is the whole town talking about it, people who don't even like the sport are talking about it. And it gives people an opportunity to talk and communicate, right? Because of this big thing that's going on. And people are in a good mood, or people are more receptive. And that is the same with such an event as this snowstorm. There are people that it's going to impact so many people. So it's going to be a topic for just about everyone. And so when you're communicating with people, you have the opportunity to talk to them about it. I mean, you don't have to act like you know everything about weather, but the idea is, it's a conversation piece, right? And it's an opportunity to find out more about that person. It's an opportunity to be able to open up and actually have a conversation, so that you can build relationships. And when you do that, guess what's going to happen? Think about it. Down the road, 6 months down the road, 3 months down the road, 1 month down the road, all that backup, they may need some help, for in whatever capacity it is, or it may be some other situation that they need help in. But if you've been able to build that relationship with them, then you're going to be able to find yourself in a better position, a few months down the road. Because every year when this thing happens, there's always this talk, if you listen to like Bloomberg News, or one of these business channels, they'll talk about things that are going on, why things are slow, or why there is a demand for this or that. And it ends up relating back to what happened in January or February, the snowstorm that we had that slowed everything down. And that is what I don't know. I don't know if carriers really think about that and try to take advantage of that. But there is that opportunity again, because I do hear a lot of people talk about how it might be slow for them and they're not able to, um, they're not moving any freight right now. Um, so you got to be strategic and look for those opportunities. I did put out an article, like I said. If you're interested in that, I can definitely shoot it your way. So you can let me know. You call me direct, 816-703-8431, 816-703-8431. And but other than that, yeah, it's going to be a cold weekend, a very cold weekend. So I'm going to try. I don't think the temperature's gone down much, but it's probably going to be mid to upper 30s. So that's some good weather to be out in. So I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage of that. I saw in Minnesota, it's interesting. During this cold weekend, Minnesota is actually, this was the wind chill though, is actually going to experience an increase in temperature. While the rest of the country is the temperatures are going down, their temperature is going to be going up. But the rest of the country is still probably going to be warmer than them. You know, they're looking at wind chill of like minus 23, going up to about a -2 by Sunday. So, and I'm sure some other parts of the country are going to be pretty cold. There's like way up north, it appears as though the same temperature is going to exist for down in Texas. I think that's the way it looked to me, and it just looked kind of weird. But man, I'm telling you, this is going to be a huge. Um, it's going to be cold this weekend, so be safe. Bundle up. Look for opportunities. They do exist. People are willing to talk and willing to talk about the weather and whatever else. But yeah, I hope you have a great weekend. All right, be safe and God bless.